All right, so today is August 29th, 2020, and right here in front of me, I'm so excited about this plant, is a tamarind. Um, so this plant is used for all kinds of purposes, but most specifically for cooking. I caught this plant at a pretty awesome time because, as you can see here, we can see some of the flowers of the tamarind, which is really awesome. And you can see some of the smaller tamarind that are just developing here. And these flowers are so cool. I don't think I've ever really taken the time to look at the flowers of this plant. When I was a kid, we had a tamarind, but I didn't really care too much about it. We would eat it. I would actually eat the tamarind raw, just like this. But my parents told us the proper way to eat it, and that's when they would actually fall off the tree or kind of get older. But this plant is beautiful, and you could see it's just covered. It is covered in tamarind right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and look for some pods if I can find some on the ground. As a matter of fact, I can. There are lots of pods right there, as you can see. So I'm gonna go ahead, collect some of these pods, and see if I can take them home and germinate them. And if I can't, I can always come back here. This is right next to a park, and it's just out here in public. Just somebody grew it out here, and it's been growing ever since. Beautiful. All right, it is September 24th, 2020, and it's been a month, well, approximately a month since we had gathered these tamarind. I wanted to show you what the tamarind looked like inside of the pod. If you look at this pod right here in the center of the video, you can see there's a tiny little pinhole in it. Now that is from some type of bug. I think maybe it's some type of small beetle. There's a bigger hole right there you can see, and you can see it just burrowed into there. I'm pretty sure the inside of this, there you go, it shouldn't look like that at all. It should look pretty intact and not powdery like this, but I think it is powdery like this because of that bug. Let's take a look at this guy. I'm not sure if, yeah, they got in here too. So you can see it's really, looks really powdery, crusty and crummy in here. There are so many little holes in them, and that is from that very same bug. So this stuff outside of these, there's 2 seeds in here, and that fleshy part you see outside of the seed is the edible part of this this plant. I want to move some of this so you can kind of see it just smeared onto my finger there. And that stuff is so full of flavor, but you basically just eat all that flesh right off the seed, and the seed is all that's left after that. It's pretty tangy. It's really tasty stuff. All right, so I found a seed pod that has one of these little critters in them, and I think this is one of the larvae. So you can see this guy here, he's trying to crawl out right now. And in the little hole was this guy right there. And as you can see here, he looks like some type of beetle. Definitely a beetle. All right, so we're done cleaning here. So as you can see, out of all this mess here, out of multiple seed pods, all we have that are viable are just these few seeds here. So only 6 seeds. So I'm definitely going to go out there to grab some more seed pods so that we can increase our chances by collecting as many seeds, as many viable seeds as we can. So eventually I did go out there to the mother tree to get some more tamarind seeds, and I just got done cleaning them off here. And as you can see, something really cool happened as I was cleaning them off. So as I'd clean them off, I'd pop them into this little plastic bowl filled with water, just to have them soak in there. And I turned around and looked as I dropped one of the seeds I had just finished cleaning into the little bowl here, and I saw something strange, and I thought it was something that just fell out from the tree above me. But as it turns out, This is actually one of the seeds. It had a small little pinhole in it, and that little hole was from those beetles. So this, why the seed looks like this, is because this is the outer layer of the seed, and it looks like the water just gets in there really quick, and as you can see, it starts to soak in the water, and the seed looks like it's shriveling. That outer layer is just peeling off on its own. The longer it sits in the water, it seems, the more it starts to shed that skin layer. Alright, so here we are the morning after, back at our tamarind, and as you can see there, if I can get it, there you go. You can see that the seed has kind of soaked up so much water that it wound up cracking open. And as you can see here, the seed, I'm assuming that soft part, the seed inside there is really soft, kind of like a bean now. So I'm going to try and squeeze him and see if I can pop him open. Oh yeah, that's still pretty strong. We'll try and get some of this stuff off here. Oh, there he goes. He popped open, and you can see right there. There is the seed, and that little hole right there is the hole that the beetle burrowed through, breaking this guy apart. He might go flying. Oh, okay, there you go. And as you can see here, there is the beetle, actually, right there. If you can see right down in the center, there are little holes where the beetle just burrowed its way into there, and I think that's where they lay their eggs, and the larvae just grow up eating the inside of this seed and eventually grow into beetles themselves and do the same thing all over again. I'm going to clip a little piece off of the seed right next to that little stem, not necessarily on it, but right next to it. I'll show you here. Alright, so as you can see there, I've nicked the little side of the seed, just barely on the surface. And that's enough. You could probably even scratch the seed and that would be good enough, but I just used the clippers because it's really easy. Alright, so here is our seed. Take one last look at it. And I'm going to place him right there at the center of the bowl. And there he is. Right there. He's the one in the middle there. And we'll start our time lapse. Alright, so I've let this seed sit overnight, and as you can see on that short time lapse there, that time lapse was actually within the span of about an hour and a half. So it took that long for the seed to unravel rather. Here we are the next day, and as you can see, the seed looks a lot thicker. It's almost as if the seed soaks in the water there. And I may just go ahead and do the same process with the rest of these seeds out here. I might just clip them all, let them take in some of that water. However, I won't leave them overnight. Alright, as you can see here, after that little time lapse, you can see all the seeds have kind of shed that outer layer, and I'm going to go ahead and plant them here into these little 1-inch pots, and we'll see how that turns out. We'll just come back if we have any germination or at that end of the 2 weeks. So it's October 8th, 2020, and I think I cut out the portion where I mentioned that we would give these guys about 2 weeks, due to the fact that those seeds were fairly soft. But after that short time lapse, I decided to plant the seeds exactly how they looked inside of that bowl. Pretty sure the day I did this was September 26th. So we are right around 2 weeks. And as you can see here, we've got 100% germination. These 2 pots here don't look like they've germinated, but if you take a closer look, you can see that they are slowly starting to come out. But as for the rest of these guys, they are all pretty much out there already. And here's the front runner. You can see him, his first true leaves are coming out there. So we'll give these guys maybe another week or 2, and we'll come back to see how they look then, and we'll also be transplanting them on that day. Okay, so it's been about 3 weeks, and it is October 30th, 2020. And as you can see here, even the second set and third set of leaves have come out on these tamarind. So it's definitely time to transplant because they're still in those 1-inch pots. And I picked one up yesterday, and I saw that the roots are definitely trying to crawl out of their drainage holes. So I just haven't been able to get to them, and finally today I've managed to get some time on my hands to take care of this. So we'll go ahead and get them over there, get them transplanted, and then we'll pick back up. Alright, so there we have it. We've got our tamarind plants transplanted. They're here in these 6-inch pots. Actually, these are 3-inch pots, and they seem a little big to be transplanted into 1 gallons, but we'll go ahead and test them out and see how they do. And if they do well in the future, we'll just go ahead and transplant them into these 1 gallons from the little 1-inch pots that they were originally planted into. So we've got 15 here. Actually, we've got 16 here in the 3-inch pots, and we've got the 2 there in the 1 gallon pots. So all right, so it's November 11th, 2020, and here we are back at our tamarind plants. So it's been a little over a month since we've got these guys transplanted from those 1-inch pots into these 3 inches and 1 gallon pots. As you can see, the ones that were planted in the gallon pots look perfectly fine, just as good as these guys up here, and they're definitely starting to grow taller. So they look like they're kind of leaning over right now, but they're definitely going to get taller here in the near future. But I've decided that that's enough coverage as far as the grow on the tamarind for the first part of it. I'm going to go ahead and continue to take care of these guys. I may sell some of them, but I am definitely going to keep a few for myself, so that we can continue to watch how these guys grow here through the future. I do know it takes years before this plant even starts producing any fruit, but that's perfectly fine with me. I'm more fascinated with the whole idea of growing it myself and getting it to that point, because the only thing to do now is take care of it and let time do its thing. So like I said, we'll cap it off there for now, and we'll come back sometime in the near future to see how the tamarind are doing then. Thanks for watching.